GamingBolt presents Death Stranding, 10 new things you may not know. Given the hard time he had at Konami during most of 2015, it was a big surprise that somehow Kojima went ahead and debuted his new IP, Death Stranding, on the stage at Sony's E3 2016 press conference. It's equally surprising given how long he takes to make games and how he had stated multiple times that his new game is too early in development for much on it to be shared. Death Stranding looks to be a horror surreal science fiction game, and it will be starring Norman Reedus of The Walking Dead fame. Reedus and Kojima were originally going to work together for Silent Hills before that project got cancelled in the Kojima-Konami fallout. However, it had long been speculated that Reedus was still working with Kojima on his new game, and that speculation turned out to be right. The game doesn't have a lot of information out there, but here are 10 things about Death Stranding that you should know right now. Lots of action and possible horror elements. Kojima Productions' Death Stranding was showcased during Sony's E3 2016 presser, and for a teaser of sorts, it contained quite a lot. Back then, director Hideo Kojima revealed some new details about the game and explained its odd premise. Essentially, the term Dead Stranding is likened to when whales or dolphins are stranded on beaches or when people are stranded on islands while alive. So this refers to being stranded while dead, though the title also indicates something from somewhere being stranded in some world. Kojima also said that the setting and protagonist's name were secrets. Though Death Stranding features lots of action elements, players will realize how different it is from anything they've experienced before when spending a few hours with it. Furthermore, the trailer showcased at the Game Awards 2016 strongly hinted towards horror elements in the game. An open world. Last year, Hideo Kojima took the stage at Sony's pre-TGS conference for PlayStation in Japan to present his newly formed Kojima Productions' upcoming game and talk a bit about it. Kojima confirmed that the game will be an open-world action game, which is personally very exciting to us, given just how well realized the open world in Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain was. Kojima's best work yet. Metal Gear Solid, The Snatcher, perish the thought of those masterpieces. Hideo Kojima believes that his next big game, Kojima Productions' Death Stranding, will be his best work yet. The reasoning is rather interesting actually. While speaking on stage with PS4 system architect Mark Cerny at last year's Develop conference, Kojima noted that he won't be making compromises this time around. So far when I've been making games, I've had to give up on something, or at least compromise on something, in order to get things done. But this time, working with Mark Cerny and bringing the state-of-the-art technologies, we will get around that usual problem. I'm very confident that we're working towards something completely new and that no one has seen so far. This will be my best work so far. I'm very confident about that. The line about compromises is likely a reference to Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain, which had a number of sequences and content cut. Co-op gameplay. It seems that Death Stranding will introduce a new kind of co-op gameplay, though it's still playable solo. Kojima's goal seems to be in creating bonds between players, which leads us to assume some kind of journey-like style of co-op. Again, nothing is confirmed at this time. Graphics. Death Stranding was shown running on the PlayStation 4 Pro in 4K, and it looked absolutely stunning during the Game Awards. However, during a panel at PlayStation Experience 2016, Hideo Kojima confirmed that the final game will look even better than what was shown off at the Game Awards. Given that Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain ran at 1080p and 60 FPS on the PS4, we have little doubt that Kojima's tech team will be able to push the visuals even more on the PS4 Pro. Running on the Decima Engine, a set of framework and tools that's being developed by Guerrilla Games, this new engine features full support for physical-based rendering pipelines, resulting into realistic lighting properties for each object in the game. The Decima Engine. Kojima Productions' Death Stranding has been confirmed to be using the new Decima Engine, which is based off of Guerrilla Games technology that's being used for games like Horizon Zero Dawn. At PlayStation Experience 2016, during a panel, PS4 system architect Mark Cerny talked about how the partnership between Koji Pro and Guerrilla emerged. Cerny first said he has no idea how far the engine could evolve. I think what's notable about Guerrilla Games technology is that it's not just graphics technology, it's a great number of things. You design a world, you script AI for the enemies, it's a very deep and intuitive tool set. I have absolutely no idea where it's going to end. The one thing we know, as games companies that work on technology, is that it's going to evolve and get better. I could not hazard a guess as to where they're going to take it. Interestingly enough, Guerrilla and Koji Pro worked together on the same code, which was new to Cerny, and it's to the point that you can't tell who coded which lines. Most of it is still by Guerrilla though. Kojima faulting everyone from Konami. Generally speaking, when a high-ranking employee departs from an employer, the employer has multiple provisions in place to protect their interests and ensure that the employee won't encroach on their territory. These provisions include non-compete agreements, which bar the employee from holding a similar position to the one they held with the employer for a certain amount of time, and non-poaching agreements, which prohibit the employee from asking others at the company to quit to come work with them. In the case of Konami and Hideo Kojima, it seems that none of those apply whatsoever. Not only has Kojima quit Konami and started his own studio right away, but it also looks like he's siphoning off some of the best talent from Konami to his new studio. We already know that he has Yoji Shinkawa, the art director, working with him, along with Kenichiro Imaizumi, the producer, personal assistant Ayako Terashima, and Shinji Hirano, the former president of Konami Europe. But it looks like that's not all either. Apparently, Kojima also has Masaki Saito and Jackie Tan, formerly game designers at Konami, Yasuhiro Kawakami, cinematic artist at Konami, Chihoko Uchiyama, who is the senior character designer at Konami, and in what is probably Kojima's biggest coup, Akio Sakamoto, the man who designed the core of the Fox engine, working with him at the new Kojima Productions. This is increasingly good news for us as gamers. It ensures that Konami's talent lives on at the new Kojima Productions, even as Konami themselves look content to not utilize that talent or their considerable back catalog. The new Kojima Productions is basically Konami reborn, and we can't wait to see what they all decide to do in the future. Photogrammetry Techniques. Hideo Kojima has always been known for his relentless march towards the latest and greatest tech available on hand. His games are technical marvels, and there's truly a joy to be derived for the technology enthusiasts at dissecting just all the new technologies that went into their making, and all the really creative ways Kojima put them to good use. With Death Stranding, however, you would have been forgiven had you thought this would not be the case. After all, Kojima is using a third-party engine here with Guerrilla's Decima Engine, isn't he? However, Kojima being Kojima, he's managed to figure something out after all. Speaking to Sugoi Japan in an interview, Kojima talked about the new photogrammetry techniques he's using for Death Stranding. Death Stranding uses photogrammetry scans made from 360-degree photographic data and performance capture technology to record actor-actress performances. These are then integrated and rebuilt in the game engine. These methods are completely different from those used in movies, so performers need to first think, "This sounds interesting, I'd like to try this new stuff," or they won't take part in the project, said Kojima. Norman Reedus and Mads Mikkelsen. Death Stranding looks like it will be a great, remarkable game, and one of the most interesting things about it is the participation of some pretty big stars, who appear to have been roped in to lend not just their voice work, but also their likenesses to the game. From the trailers we've seen for the game so far, we already know that Death Stranding will have The Walking Dead's Norman Reedus and Mads Mikkelsen. So how did it happen? How and why did Kojima end up bringing them on board? I think it was around the time of Valhalla Rising 2009 and Casino Royale 2006, Kojima explained. After seeing his past featured films, I found out that he was in Nicholas Winding Refn's Pusher trilogy 1996 to 2005, so I got a hold of Mads through Nicholas. Valhalla Rising was recommended to me by Hollywood director Ryuhei Kitamura, who insisted, "There's this incredible movie, you have to watch it now." Of course, I immediately purchased the imported Blu-ray. Nicholas's Drive 2001 was released in Japan right after that. I really enjoyed the film and wrote a commentary about it. I couldn't meet Nicholas in Japan, so I contacted him while in London. To my surprise, he came all the way from Copenhagen to meet me. Director Guillermo Del Toro introduced me to Norman. He was the one who discovered Norman's talent, so I asked him for Norman's home address. He said, "Sure," and sent an email right then and there to Norman saying, "Hideo Kojima wants to work with you." Norman quickly replied, "Oh, great, okay," and then I went off to meet him. Guillermo Del Toro's involvement. Speaking to IGN, Del Toro, who made an appearance in the latest trailer showcase at the Game Awards 2016, confessed that he has no creative say in the project. "I'm involved as a character. He, as in Kojima, discussed his ideas so I could understand the character, but other than that, I'm not involved creatively at all. This is entirely Kojima-san's game. I think it's going to be a fantastic game, 100%, but this is him and his ideas. I'm just a puppet in his hands. My contribution is limited to being a cheerleader for his ideas and being scanned for long hours at a time. That's about it." Death Stranding is currently in development for PS4 and PC. It doesn't have a release date just yet. That'll be it for this video. If you like what we're doing, please go ahead and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.